Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lloyds Bank British Business Excellence Awards webinar, where we are talking to the lovely Donna Otoole from Crafted by August about how to create a winning entry into the awards programme for 2024. All of our hints and tips and a bit of advice just to help you guide you through the process. We have 17 different categories to choose from for this year, all varying on different business sizes or different business disciplines. So we'll go into that detail a little bit more for you. But please do, in addition to today's webinar, please do get in touch with us if you would like to ask any more specific questions. My name is Sarah Austin. I am the director and founder of the Lloyds Bank British Business Excellence Awards. Each year we're going from strength to strength. We've got a full year worth of programme of events and content. Ultimately, it comes down to you, the amazing businesses that comes through this programme, and it all culminates in a huge award ceremony in November at the Grosvenor House Hotel on the 12th of November for 2024. So I will hand you over to the lovely Donna, who I've worked with for many years, who really does know everything about the awards market and in particular the business awards market. And I think, anybody who seeks the advice from Donna or any member of her team will definitely be putting themselves in a good position to know what the judges will want to hear from your business for 2024. So thank you so much, Donna, for doing this.
Thank you, Sarah. Pleasure, as always. And hello, everyone. And hopefully you're watching this in good time to be getting your entry completed. So I'm going to be talking today, giving lots and lots of different tips on how you can improve your entry, give yourself the best chance of winning. And I've had the pleasure of judging the awards for many years and seen some incredible winners come out the other side. But there's definitely techniques that can help you to get through to that judging post, into the finals and to the win at the end of the day. So I'm going to share my screen now and go through some tips for you. So just writing a winning award entry, that's what we're doing today. So just a quick intro, if you don't know me and I haven't met you before, I'm the founder of August Recognition. We help businesses to find, enter and win awards all over the world. And I'm very happily the best-selling author of Win. And if you'd like a copy to help you to win, then you can download that from the website as well. And we're part of the Dent Global Group. So you'll see Daniel here, Daniel Priestley, who recently was on Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. So lots of good business tips there if you want to listen to that as well. And we partner lots of brilliant awards. So we're really happy to be here today with the Lloyds Bank British Business Excellence Awards, which Sarah does such a mighty job of running and creating, honestly, the most beautiful event that you will go to. So first of all then, why win awards? Why even bother to get into this? And you can see some pictures here from last year, actually. Lots of people having fun at the event. So awards really build the social proof around your business and prove that you're worth investing in for your customers, your partners, your suppliers, for everybody around you, because external recognition really brings credibility. That credibility builds trust. Trust builds brand loyalty, and brand loyalty builds business. So it's a really subtle sequence of events, but if you've got recognition, that can be made quicker, faster, and easier. And the impact of awards is real. And to really bring that to life, I love this piece of research, which is all about the psychology of awards and recognition. And this was a test that was done where they took the same wine, they put it into two different bottles. So one didn't have an award sticker and one did have an award sticker. And then they got people to taste the wine. And you might be surprised to hear that actually everyone who tasted the wine thought the wine from the bottle with the award sticker on tasted better than the wine without, even though it was the same wine. So it just goes to show you that actually just that psychology of perceptions around awards and recognition really matter. So when people are scouring the internet and looking for businesses to buy from or work with or to trust, then actually whether you're showcasing recent awards can really make a difference to your business. And winning businesses outperform other businesses without awards in so many different areas. We do lots of internal research here across the market, and we read lots of external research as well. And actually, we've seen that award-winning businesses show around a 63% increase in revenue following an award win. So that's a huge boost to customer sales. There's also 77% higher sales shown even 5 years after winning. So that gives you an idea of how valuable that asset is for the business and the longevity of that there is for a business award as well. And when it comes to your people, in one piece of research, they showed that staff felt around 88% more motivated by an external award than they did by a pay rise. So it makes a real difference to actually go to that effort and give the kind of external credibility to your team or for the projects that they're doing. It makes a real difference to them. So for the awards this year, then, it's really important to know the key dates. So we've got the award entry deadline, so get your entries written. And I know there was a bit of an early bird offer going on as well at the moment. So get your submissions lined up and registered and then submitted by the 14th of June. Then the finalists will be announced in July, so you can already start shouting about being in the final and starting to get some social proof out there on your social media then. Then there will be face-to-face presentations, so you can do those in person or online in September, and they are my favourite part of the process. When you actually get to meet all the finalists and hear your story. It's a little bit like Dragon's Den, but much more fun. And then there's the finals and the ceremony, which is the 12th of November, and it is an absolutely stunning event and really, really good for you to take your employees to, or take your partners and clients and suppliers. It's a great event for that. So some tips then for what you're going to put in your award entry and how you can stand out to the judges. My first one is really to discover your USP. So that's your award's unique selling point. What we often find is that businesses are so used to promoting themselves in a certain way that they sort of take that marketing and put it into the awards and think that that's going to work. But actually, the USP that you've got to showcase for a particular project or for your whole business might be slightly different for the awards. It's important to understand the criteria that the awards are putting all out for you to see. So, but then to bring together these three key elements. Now, this is a theory that I've used for many, many years. I've taken from Aristotle's modes of persuasion, which is a historical theory around how to win an argument. So if you need to win an argument, this is your route to success. And that is to bring together these elements. So impact, which is logical. So actually thinking about why you do what you do from a logical perspective. Who are you serving? Why are you serving them? What do they need? But then bringing into that a values argument as well. So actually, what are your company values? What's your passion? What's your purpose? What does it mean to you and your team when you're servicing your customers or whatever the projects are that you're putting forward in your business? And you'll see that these are evidenced typically quite differently. So on the logical side, we've normally got quantitative evidence, so percentages of savings or growth and all sorts of quantitative arguments around what you do. But on the value side of things, the evidence tends to be more qualitative. So it could be case studies, testimonials and examples and things like that. By bringing all of those three elements together, that essentially brings you into the centre here, which is the strongest chance of winning. If you've entered the awards before and you haven't won, and very often I will say it's a really, it can be a really strong competition, and often businesses are not don't win by just a point. But it's worth looking back on your previous entries and thinking, did I really include everything here? Did I have both types of evidence? And did I have a human story as well as a logical impact? So have a look back on your previous entries, or we can support you with that as well. Another thing that's really important is to tell an impactful story. And often, again, I think people sometimes think they know what their impact is and they're used to telling it in a certain way, but they don't actually need to do that in awards, and they need to have a slightly different angle. So just as an example here, we've got Alex Marsh, who was the head of Close Brothers Retail Finance. Then he ended up moving to onto Klarna UK thanks to their awards program. And then after that, he's now actually running a charitable organisation called Charterpath, which is amazing. But what they did, Close Brothers Retail Finance did when they were entering awards, is they looked at their story, and we looked at it with them to see that actually at the start they were focusing very much on technology. But when we dug deeper, we found that their true impact was actually on the small businesses and the entrepreneurs that the business was supporting to grow. And by shifting the story from technology to actually changing entrepreneurs' lives and helping them to grow their businesses, it was so much more impactful that they won every award that they went into, and ended up really attracting the attention of their competitors, which is why they were bought by Klarna in the end. So if you want to really raise your profile in your industry and show what you're doing differently, it's a good idea to kind of dig a bit deeper than what perhaps you're used to saying, and see where that human impact is lying. The next thing you need to do is identify your strengths so that you can get in the right race. Now, I have an example here of Usain Bolt and Sir Mo Farah, and they're here because I challenge you to think about who would win if they were to enter an award called the Best Runner in the World award. Now, how would you make, as a judge, how would you make a decision on who should win that award? Well, if I told you that Usain Bolt's average running speed is 27 miles per hour, but Mo's is 17 miles per hour, maybe that might help you. But I know that people often think, well, actually, what's the distance that's over? And actually, Usain's the fastest man in the world up to 200 meters. And then after that, Mo takes over. So it's very difficult to judge them against each other, which is actually my main point, which is they don't run against each other. Okay, they understand the competition that they're getting in, and they really work to their strengths for that part of the competition. So you don't see them competing unless they're in a charity or a fun race or something like that. So, and that's where I want you to think about when you're selecting your category. So there's lots of great categories for this award, and you can enter multiple categories as well. So it might be that let's say you're a new founder. So there's a new founder category up here, but actually your business is also very purpose driven. So you could enter this one. So you can mix and match the categories to suit you. There's no limit on the amount of categories that you can enter, but it's important to understand your strengths and what they would be going into that category. So each of the categories has different criteria that the judges will be scoring you from, and each part of that criteria is weighted in a slightly different way. So it's really important to have a look on the website. Sarah's made sure it's all there for you so that you've got a really good understanding of how you're going to be judged on the other side. I think sometimes it's a bit tempting to tell the story you want to tell without actually working to the criteria you've been given. And then that's a little bit harder for you to win. So the strongest chance of success is picking a category that suits your strengths, looking at the criteria, and then really working to pull out your best strengths within those criteria points. Points mean prizes at the end of the day. And then to back up your claims. So I talked a little bit earlier about evidence, and this is the kind of thing that we come across as judges all the time. So people will say things like, our campaign is the best in the industry. We've created incredible results from our innovative ideas, and we know people love what we've made. And we think, well, that's nice, but we can't really, that's not been substantiated in any way. So when we're comparing you to other companies that might have actually given us the evidence around their claims, then it's going to be harder for you to win. So I really encourage you to look at including evidence that back up your claims. So for example, here we've changed this to: the success of the campaign led to a 97% uplift in social media engagement within 24 hours of launch. Joe Bloggs says, so you would have in that you've got a bit of quantitative evidence, you've also got a bit of qualitative evidence in a quote from your client or customer, and it really helps the judges to understand, okay, well, you've not just told us what you've done, you've actually shown how that worked as well. And when it comes to evidence, that's something that people often struggle on. So this is just an example of different ways in which you can present your evidence. So this is, because I can't share any client evidence with you, this is actually our evidence internally of feedback from our customer surveys. So we survey our customers at the end of the year when they've finished their awards programs, and some of that feedback is here. So why did you choose us? 75% said good reputation. Was it worth it? 100% said yes. And then this is some really good impact data that shows that team morale increased, turnover increased, and brand awareness increased for all those clients. Now, if I was entering an award, I could therefore use this data as evidence for me. So I really encourage you to think about the data that you've got that supports the entries that you're putting together, and if you haven't got data, what can you get and how can you make that happen? So we will often do surveys and things like that for our clients to help them really pull that together. Also with qualitative evidence, so this is more like what your clients are saying to you, what's the feedback that they're giving, and these are just some comments that were on the surveys that we did, so we could use that as qualitative evidence. You could also use case studies and actually tell us a story about one of your clients or your customers, so you can bring to life what you're doing. Maybe it's about your employees, so you might want to bring them into it and get their evidence too. Another tip is these sound really like simple tips, but they're things that come up every year. So I keep saying them. So first one is be honest. So remember that the judges who are judging you, we're business people, we understand how it works. We know there's challenges every day. And actually we want to hear about those challenges because it makes it all the better to see that you've been able to get over them. So be honest about how things have been and take us on the journey with you, because it really helps to bring it to life, and then show us how you've overcome those challenges or what you're going to be doing in the future. Also keep it simple, and that means if you work in an industry where there's a lot of acronyms or scientific language or technical language that is very specific and niche to you, then don't necessarily expect that a broad spectrum of judges will know exactly what you mean just from an award entry. So keep it simple, explain it like your granny would understand it, and then you'll be sure to make sure everyone's on board with that. And I also say choose facts over cliches, which again sounds obvious, but again always happens in award entries. We get through a lot of cliches in a day. And this is just an example of something that I have read. So the first one says, in a paradigm shift, we bit the bullet and thought outside the box to synergize with our team, break down the silos and do more with less. The net result was win-win, which basically sounds like you've been on The Apprentice and got overexcited. So we really just want plain English. Explain to us what you've done. So an alternative would be, we've educated our customers in this global issue, whatever that might be, which will create a lasting impact and can already be seen in the sentiment of their feedback. For example, then demonstrate and substantiate what you're saying. So hopefully that will take away some of that temptation to fluff things out in the award entry, let's say. And quality really counts in your award entry as well. So I always say, even Shakespeare had a proofreader. Don't get too attached to your words that you're not willing to take feedback from anyone else on them. It's really a good idea to share it with a colleague or with a friend or relation to actually give you some feedback. Do they understand it? If they don't know anything about your business, do they really get it now? And listen to that. I always say never submit your first written draft as well. Let it breathe and then edit. And we do this day in, day out, and that's still the same for my team. And they're absolute experts in doing this, because your first draft is kind of like the outpouring and the designing of the story and all the information, and it should be a lot longer than the actual entry is. And then in refining that story and breaking it down and editing it, you'll find that it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. One way to, once you've edited your entry down, one way to check if there's sticking points is to read your entry out loud, because you'll tend to find that when you're hovering over something, there's usually a problem with it and it needs a little bit of editing, or you could ask someone to do that with you. The other thing I really like nowadays is we've got the beauty of Zoom, where you can actually read out to yourself, record it and listen to it back. I'm a great lover of audio, so I will tend to record things and then listen back, and they kind of go in my head that way. There's also loads of great tools you can use as well to help you with quality, or perhaps you might be writing in English isn't your first language, and then you can use something like Grammarly.com or something like that to help you to make sure it's polished. The reason for polishing is not because, you know, it's not a spelling test, in that the judges are not giving you points. It's not like being at primary school and you get points on your spelling and grammar, but it's so we understand it and there isn't any confusion or ambiguity in what you're saying, and we can't really get to the point. So it's more for that reason, really. Okay, so that kind of brings me to the end. So I'm going to leave here for you a QR code, which you can, if you've got a smartphone, then you can hover over this now, and you can download an award entry checklist. So if you're writing your own award entries, that will help you to go through and make sure that you do cover off all those points and check it afterwards, because it can be hard to double check that as well. And if you would like to hear more from us, or you would like any support with your award entries, you can contact us on hello@augustawards.com, and follow us on social channels to hear more awards news and updates. I'm best on LinkedIn, so connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can find me there. So I hope that helps, Sarah. Should we have a chat about what comes up in the programme?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. There's so many points, and like you say, they are quite, in some cases, it might seem obvious, but you really do have to hammer it home to get through to people about, it's the simple things that will actually really make a big difference.
Yeah,
I am in such a privileged position of being able to read some of these entries that come through with my shortlisting panel, and yes, it's sometimes very easy to get sort of carried away with talking about your own world. And that is, again, just looking back at some of those tips that you've given, one thing that really resonated with me is, don't get carried away in the acronyms of your own
yeah,
industry. These are business awards. We are judging the business, not where you necessarily, we're not judging anything against your industry.
yeah.
And so that's really key, I think.
Yeah, I always say to people, if you think of it as apples versus oranges rather than apples versus apples,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
there might be someone else from your industry in the category. That's usually more of a coincidence than anything else. But typically, it's not a panel of experts on that. Whatever your industry is. So it can be a bit frustrating. I mean, that's one part that I love about these awards, is that you have the live presentations, because if we do have questions that we need to get to the bottom of, it's a perfect opportunity to do that there. But you've still got to get through to the final
Yeah.
to get to that live presentation. So it's really important to make sure you tick all the boxes for the judges early doors.
Absolutely. And to think, what my advice is to most of the entrants is, just imagine you are going on Dragon's Den. You're not necessarily pitching for investment. In some cases you might be, but I really would recommend watching and learning, and
Yeah,
you see how succinct they are when they're giving their presentations. Also, there's a program in America called Shark Tank, which is very similar.
yeah,
And if anything, they are even more to the point on that version of the TV program. So I really recommend that
yeah,
people
100%.
watch it. And also imagine that when you come, so the judging takes place in September. It takes place across 4 weeks. It's a massive program that we have, because we want to give every single entrant and finalist the time that they deserve. So everybody presents to a very specialist panel, and each category has its own panel of judges, and they're invited to Homegrown, where I am. I'm actually in a Zoom pod in Homegrown today, which is a beautiful entrepreneurs private members business club in Marylebone in London. So again, another opportunity where you can meet and greet fellow finalists, judges, and other people within the club who might be able to help along your business journey. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and it's another one of those sort of touch points with the awards where we'll get to learn a bit more about your business as well. I think something that I'd like to just talk about quickly is about the awards as a whole. And it's not just about the night in November, which is wonderful. But if you even, simply entering into the awards, you will have access to some of our networking events that we host across the year. We have a lovely community reception that takes place at the House of Commons, which will be taking place at the end of June, which is very much a hot ticket in town.
It's
And a
great. It's great fun. It's a good opportunity to meet a lot of people as well in one place, and good PR opportunity if you're involved in the awards. Get some photos, put it on your social media.
Yeah, it's a brilliant event. And so that's just one example. We in partnership with Lloyds Bank, we host an event in October, which is another networking reception that takes place a month before the big event, and it's for all of the finalists, and it's just a real sort of intimate gathering to really celebrate becoming a finalist. So regardless of what happens on the big night, whether you win or not, we're going to celebrate you because you've done so well to get to that point. And that event will be taking place in the crypt at St Paul's Cathedral, which is just a magnificent venue, and you'd never really think to go there for an event of this nature. So it's lovely to have that exposure, and again meet and some more of our judges and VIPs that surround the awards. And then when it comes to the night itself, it is a big glittering award ceremony. I like to think that we don't um, just put out your atypical B2B awards event where we just book a comedian and watch let the comedian do all the work. It's very much a thought-provoking event, but we like to challenge some of the status quo. We like to make well, ultimately enable all the connections that are entirely possible on that night. But it's a real celebration as well of over 1,000 business leaders in one room. Last year, we did hear from the Chancellor of the Exchequer, whose decisions that person makes will affect all of the businesses within that room. So it was good to hear it from the horse's mouth. And we also we spoke to an award-winning actor at the event, David Harewood, and Naga Munchetty was the host. So hopefully that sort of sets the tone for, you know, the type of event that you'll be involved with. I very much and I hope this comes across. I love listening to the businesses that come into the program. I find it so inspiring to hear all of these stories. I'm really pleased to announce that we have a new official media partnership with the Independent newspaper, which will be coming out shortly. And so it's really also a great opportunity to tell the nation and the world about your business. And it really sort of propels you to the next level. It's not just you know, a logo on the website and well done you. It's that
Oh, I
you
saw one of your case studies actually last week. One of your blogs around one of your winners who's now gone on to with the International Trade Department, I think it was, and
yeah.
has now gone on to expand overseas, etc., which was really good as well. It just shows you that kind of the impact that can happen after the event.
Yeah, it's a seal of approval. It's a stamp, you know, to say that, you know, you've put yourself ahead of your industry. Like I said, it's not just the industry. You have put yourself to say that you're the best in the country. And a lot of our businesses, you know, you'll see from businesses even just from 2021 who perhaps entered small business or small to medium sized business, and they're now coming back in to enter for mid-market growth business, or even, as a great example, exporter. So these businesses are, you know, they're on the next stage of their journey, and I'd like to think that the awards were what help propel to get them to that point. It makes you really attractive to investment.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, well, no, it's lovely to talk to you again. And I like you said, we've got a busy year ahead.
Mhm.
So put the 14th of June in your diary. That is our entry deadline. And there's a fair amount of bits going out between now and then. I am always here for any advice that you might need to help guide any entries. So just contact me through the website. But like I said at the beginning, I do think, you know, Donna and your team, you do this day in, day out. You know, you are a judge yourself of awards.
Yeah.
You know what judges are looking for. You can look in the whites of the eyes of the people who are pitching. And so, you know, and I think also you are the type of person to help demystify a lot of things. I think when people land on the website, they can get really overwhelmed and they can think, oh God, I don't know if I have this, that, and the
Absolutely.
other. And you and your team have this marvelous way of just simplifying the process and enabling you to gather all your thoughts and be like, oh, actually, and you can say that is award winning. That is
Yes.
something that you
Well,
have
often
done.
people are doing things that they didn't actually realize are, or they
Yeah,
just, because them it's good practice, but actually pick out this, pick out that, you know, what is going to make the difference.
exactly that. And would you believe there are awards for award ceremonies? And I
Yes.
recently submitted my submission for these awards to go into the awards. And it really takes it's a brilliant idea for any business leader to take a step back and look at what your achievements are,
Mm.
because what you, like I said, what you might think is normal is actually
Yes,
really incredible,
absolutely.
and should be recognized not only in your industry but now on a national platform.
Yeah, 100.
So we'll enable you to do that. So I'll stop rabbiting on about how amazing the awards are because I could talk about it all day. But really do get in touch with Donna and the team, or any of members of my team as well, and we can help you. And hopefully all the people who've been able to come and attend today and listen to this, we will see you at our several networking events across the year, and on the night in November.
Brilliant. Yeah, looking forward to it, and looking forward to who I'll meet judging this year.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.